So you want to get rich. On Instagram, everyone is constantly bombarding you with their perfect lives, and you wonder how you can obtain the same type of life. At only 21 years old, I've been able to build a pretty decent life for myself, as you can see. And that's exactly why my goal with this video is to show you how you too can reclaim your freedom and live a life of true abundance. But you see, you've been lied to. You've been told that to become rich, you needed to have a genius IQ, become famous, or even invent something revolutionary. Do something which has never been done before. But the people who told you that have no clue what the heck they're talking about. I mean, in fact, nowadays, with the internet and with social media, it's possible to get started from your parents' basement and to become a multi-millionaire in just a couple of years, in less than a decade, starting with a laptop and a steady internet connection. I mean, let me tell you that a couple decades ago, people would have killed for the opportunity that we have today to build great wealth. I mean, realize this, as we are speaking right now, some girls make over $150,000 a month with their OnlyFans account. That's more than what most lawyers make in an entire year in the United States. We are living in absolutely crazy times. As you can see, the game has changed. The path that worked for your parents to build wealth, it no longer really works. In fact, millennials and Gen Z struggle to afford to buy their own home. Back then, for your parents, if they had a decent job, they were willing to be patient and a bit perseverant, they would finally be able to qualify for a mortgage and be able to buy the house that they wanted. They've been promised that if they worked really hard all of their lives until retirement, finally they would be free and they could do anything they wanted. But that couldn't be further from the truth. When you're old to begin with, you don't have the same energy, vitality, strength, or even mental energy to do things as opposed to when you're young. All of your life you've been told, study hard in school, get good grades, get massively in debt to go to a good university, and then you'll be able to get a good job and maybe one day make 6 figures a year. Ever since I was very young, like 11, 12 years old, I knew that this path that they sold to us was a complete lie. And that is why I also knew I would never go to university. So instead of doing like everyone else, of following the traditional path, I was willing to bet on myself. Because after all, plenty of people want unconventional results. They want to get rich, they want to get in shape, they want a loving and caring partner. Yet, they do the same things that most people around them do. And those people, it's not like they're incredibly successful, in shape, and they have great relationships. They follow the advice, they take the same actions that the people who have the opposite of what they want to. And they hope that somehow they'll get a different outcome. But that is insanity. Einstein said it himself. Because ask yourself this question. The people at 25, 26, even sometimes hell 20, who make millions of dollars every single year, how do they do it? Is it because they climbed the corporate ladder all of their lives for decades? That's impossible. More often than not, they started an online business. If you want to figure out what is the best online business to start as a beginner, I've recorded a free guide in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together, we'll take a look at the pros, at the cons, so you can figure out which one is the best to start for you. And I'll also share with you the 3-step process that you can use to get your first customers as quickly as possible. I'll leave the link in the description below. But you see, becoming rich is not about following a business tactic, because you can get rich with lots of business models. I mean, some people made millions of dollars, in fact 8 figures, so that's like at least $10 million, and the way that they did it was through selling socks on a dropshipping store online. So becoming successful, more than anything, it's about leveling yourself up as a character. Think of life as a video game, except that in this game, the rewards that you get for doing the work are so much more gratifying than any reward you could ever get in a video game. I've never personally understood how so many people could just be so obsessed with trying to level up a fictional character, pixels on a screen, for hours on end every single day. Yet when it comes to their own personal lives, they do nothing to change it, to make it better. But video games mimic real life, that's the thing. So if instead of putting all that energy into building a better version of themselves in the fictional world, if they instead put that energy in becoming better in the real world, they would have a much better life by now. And that is why to truly become rich, to become extremely wealthy, to be able to do anything you want, to be able to buy anything you want without having to take the price tag into consideration, it's not necessarily about following a specific business plan. It's about becoming a different version of yourself. And that is exactly why I'm going to share with you the 6 things that you need to start doing to become rich. So no matter which business model you decide to start, you will still be able to apply this advice. The first thing that you need to start doing if you truly want to become rich is solving problems for people. You need to understand this one thing. If you want to make a lot of money, you'll need to help a lot of people. Sure, you could scam people, give them something of low quality, or worse, promise an outcome and not deliver on it. Sure, you might be able to make a few $100 doing this, a few $1,000, but trust me, this approach, it's not going to work. You'll have to face the consequences of your actions. If you take a look at the richest people on the planet, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, all of those people, they provided a lot of value to others, and that's why they got handsomely rewarded for it. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs made computers and smartphones accessible to most people across the globe. Warren Buffett is constantly helping countless companies to grow. That's a very valuable transformation as well. Mark Zuckerberg helped millions of people, in fact billions of people all over the world to connect with their loved ones. Again, he helped other people, and that is typically the reason why somebody who spends all day playing video games, watching Netflix while eating chips, they're not making any money, they're broke because they're being selfish. They're not providing as much value as possible to people. And providing value is the same reason why I started the Fastlane Club. It's a community of highly dedicated people who want to work for a better life, who refuse to settle for the mediocre life that you've been told you would have your entire life. Instead of chasing the dreams of others, you chase your own dreams. If you want to learn more about it, I'll leave the link in the description below. But to come back to solving problems for people, I know that if I help other people, as many people as possible, millions of people, even help billions of people, then of course I would be making more money than if I help less people. Typically, if you have an impact on millions of people, you'll become a millionaire. If you have an impact on billions of people, you'll become a billionaire. Now, the other thing that you need to start doing if you want to become rich is to put consistency above intensity. So what do I mean by this exactly? I know you might be wanting to reach your goals fast, to make $1 million as quickly as possible. Hell, maybe just make $10,000 a month as quickly as possible. And I completely understand that. After all, why would you want to waste your time unnecessarily? But you still need to be extremely careful, because if you try to do too much, more than you can handle at your current level, you're only shooting yourself in the foot. I'll tell you a funny story. A couple years ago, back when I started my own service-based business, we conducted some kind of a scientific experiment with my best friend of the time. We built an Excel sheet to track our performance, what time we would get up, how many times we would exercise per week, our bad habits, to see how long we could avoid them, and we would also track the amount of time that we spent working every single day. I tried to follow the perfectionist's approach. By that, what I mean is that I would do everything perfectly, or at least I would try to do everything perfectly, right from the start, every single day. I'd be following the hustle culture approach. I'd work every waking hour, have no hobbies, no fun outside of work, never taking any breaks. I would get up at 5 a.m, go for a 5K run, and then come back home and just work. And that includes the weekends. Now, the thing is that at the time, I was far too unsophisticated to be able to handle such workload. So I would do it for 3 days, and then I would just literally burn out. I couldn't do any more. So for the next 3 weeks, I couldn't do anything, I kid you not. But my best friend of the time, he followed a completely different approach. He followed the approach of consistency. I mean, I remember at the time, he read the book, I think it was The Compound Effect, and he was convinced by the power of the compound effect. I mean, Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. It's what allowed Warren Buffett to become so rich. So he decided to test this out. He did only a couple hours of work per day. He tried to take things slowly, to make progress day after day. Even if it wasn't drastic progress, he'd make progress every single day. And at the end of the month, when we analyzed both of our results, he worked a lot more than me. The simple reason being, I was trying to be perfect from the start and do everything right. But that is not possible. Over time, I've learned to push myself, to push my limits. And now I can do those things easily without burning myself out after 3 days. But back then, it would have been impossible. And that's why at the time I didn't succeed. So remember this key rule, consistency over intensity. Because I'll tell you one thing right now. If you truly want to become rich, make even just $10,000 per month, or if you want to make millions of dollars per year, it's not going to happen overnight. Most likely it will take you months or years. So you've got to be ready for that. And if you're not willing to wait, well, I mean, let me ask you another question. What's your other option, really? The third thing that you should really start doing if you want to become rich, and I do this every single day, it's managing your energy levels. So what this means is that you want to take care of every aspect of your life. If you want to do great work, you'll need to optimize your sleep, your diet, your exercise regimen. I'll tell you a funny story. A couple months ago, I was constantly tired. So naturally, I opened up my laptop and I typed, why am I always tired? But the thing is, it always gave me the basic answers. Oh, you should exercise. You should make sure to eat healthy. Like, don't eat fast food, don't eat pizza and all that garbage. Eat protein for breakfast. Meditate. Take some time off. Sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. But the thing is, I was already doing all of those things. And at some point, it got so bad, I'm not kidding you, I would need to take 2 naps every single day. 1 nap in the morning, a couple hours after going to the gym. And this couldn't be because I was new to the gym, because I wasn't. I had been training for years, so it's not like my body couldn't handle it. And then I would need to take another nap again around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So at some point I said, you know what, I'm going to go see a doctor, because for all I know I might have sleep apnea. So I did a sleep study, a blood test, and everything turned out to be fine. And then I started to feel more energy, and I took a look at my habits, because a few weeks earlier I had started to implement a brand new habit. And all of a sudden I was starting to notice more energy, and that is when I realized daily sunlight exposure was exactly what I lacked. It was the reason why I was so tired and needed to take 2 naps per day. My body didn't even know when it was time to be awake, to get stuff done, to have energy, and when it was time to just go to sleep and relax, recover for the next day. The truth is, for most of us, we spend a lot of our time indoors. In fact, most of our times we spend it inside of a building, inside of a house, of an apartment. And because of it, we never get the daily amount of sunlight that we need. So every single day what I do, after I come back from the gym, if it's a bright, sunny, clear day, I'm going to stay between 5 to 10 minutes outside. It's enough to get the sunlight exposure I need for the day. Now if it's a cloudy, rainy day, especially in the winter months, I'm going to stay 10 to sometimes even 20 minutes outside to get the daily sunlight exposure I need. And ever since I've been doing this, it took a couple weeks to start noticing the effects of it. I never take a single nap. It's been months and I haven't taken one. So if you're always feeling tired, lethargic, you always want to sleep, even though you do everything right, you exercise, you take care of your diet, you sleep enough hours, implement this single habit and let me tell you, it will change your life, just like it changed mine. Now the fourth thing that you want to do if you want to become rich is to adopt a can-do everything attitude. Now I got this from Navy SEALs. When it comes to going through tough things, they're pretty spot on that. To become a Navy SEAL, you need to go through what's called a Hell Week. It's a very intense training protocol put in place by the Navy to test their soldiers, and only those who can actually complete Hell Week successfully can become Navy SEALs. During the whole week, they only get 4 hours of sleep. I'm not talking about 4 hours every single night. 4 hours of sleep in those 7 days. So I can't even tell you what that does for their bodies, how much it destroys their bodies. I mean, if I remember correctly, some studies had been done and they showed that the testosterone levels of Navy SEALs post-Hell Week were lower than that of a 12-year-old girl. I'm not even kidding you. And they're grown men. But Navy SEALs know how to turn every situation to their advantage. When something doesn't go as planned, they don't just complain, blame things outside of themselves and play the victim. Because if they do, the consequences will be deadly, especially if they are in a war zone. So instead, they take responsibility for what's happening. They come up with a new plan and they find a way to turn that disastrous situation to their advantage. Oftentimes in life, if you want to achieve big things, you're not necessarily going to know what to do. When you start a business, you might not know everything in advance. In fact, it's most likely that you won't. But you need to be able to trust in your ability to figure things out along the way. In a commencement address to university students, Steve Jobs said you had to trust that the dots would connect, but you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust somehow that the dots will connect in the future. Understand this, the future is always uncertain. You can never know in advance what the outcome is going to be for sure. But as long as you have this attitude that you can do anything, that you can go through anything and emerge victorious, figure it out, I have no doubt you'll be able to become extremely successful. Now the fifth thing that you need to understand is that your business is ever going to be as strong as you. A lot of people don't get that when they start a business, their business is a reflection of who they are as an individual. If you can't commit to anything in your life, you can't commit to a partner, you can't commit to a diet, a workout plan, what makes you think you're going to be able to commit to one business model or to a specific business strategy? Most likely you won't, because how you do one thing is more times than not how you do everything else. And for most people, when they start a business, they're complete beginners. They will need to wear many hats. They'll need to understand sales, client acquisition, marketing, service delivery, customer support, and many other things. So if you have all of those personal issues, all of those vices, addictions holding you back, you'll only be able to get so far. That is why you need to work on yourself as an individual. It's like the people who hate their jobs. They come back home, they're in a negative state of mind, and now with their negativity, they infect everyone else. And so now at their home, everyone is negative, but no one really knows why. It's because the energy that you've got at work is going to infect the energy in your house, and vice versa. If you feel great with your loved ones when you come back home, chances are you'll be happy when you come back to work. That same energy will be transferred on your work. So really remember this, your business is a reflection of you. Now the other thing, if you want to become rich, and probably the most important thing that you need to understand, it's that you need to use the concept of leverage. I can guarantee one thing right now, every single successful person that you look up to, they understand and they use the concept of leverage. You only have so much time in a day, and you can't possibly do everything yourself. That's why when you want to get to the next level, to go from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month, and even to go from $100,000 a month to $1 million a month, the game is not played the same way. Understand this, in business, just like in life, there are different levels that you're going to need to work your way through, and not every level is going to require the same amount of work or the same type of work. Past a certain point, if you want to go to the next level of wealth, it's going to be about building systems, processes, and hiring the right people. So if you can leverage the skills, the time of other people, even the capital of other people, and the automations, softwares, you'll be able to get ahead of 99% of people because you understand a key fundamental concept that they don't. Billionaires don't work 1 billion hours a day. They simply have more leverage, and that is the only reason why they make 1 billion more times the money than most people do. Now if you apply everything we covered in this video, I can guarantee you'll become a lot more successful. With that said, I am waiting for you on the other side.